Come on over to my place. Hey, you, we're having a party. We'll be swinging, dancing, and singing. Baby, come on over this afternoon, just around about 4 o'clock, when Celtic do get back to Celtic Park. Yes, Celtic do have according to Celtic Share, Celtic have put out the barriers if Celtic do get the points required up at Dundee United today and become 4 in a row champions. Yes, 4 in a row, and it'll be the first part, well, the second part. It'll be a double so far in the league, and it only leaves the Scottish Cup at the end of the season. And let's hope that we can do that. But today is all about Celtic going up to Dundee. Buses will be on their way already. People are getting up early to try and get a little drink before they get into the game. This video was pre-recorded, and I didn't realise that the Pope's funeral was going to start at the exact same time. So by the time that this does come out, I'll be sitting, having my breakfast, sitting getting ready to watch the Pope's funeral. God rest His Holiness. But before that, let's talk about Celtic. Celtic, there is some pictures on CelticShare.com of Celtic Park, and the barrier has been put out in preparation. Supporters are expected to descend on Celtic Park this afternoon if Celtic do and can complete the job up at Dundee. The atmosphere will be electric. 4 in a row. It's not many times that you win 4 in a row. It is quite hard to generally win 4 in a row. Whilst the media say that, you know, it's easy up in Scotland winning trebles. It's not easy, and it is something that has to be worked at over a full season. And if Celtic do win the treble, it will be absolutely fantastic. And Brendan Rodgers says that this will be his best season ever at Celtic Park. Do you believe that this is the best season that Brendan Rodgers has had at Celtic Park? Or do you believe that there has been better seasons? Do you think that the invincible season is something that we spoke about at the beginning of the season, right up until Christmas? At the start of the season, I was telling you, if you look back at the videos, that the stats were showing that this team had the potential. Did have the potential, and at that point the stats were saying that this current team were better than the Celtic team that won in the invincible season. But they're not as good, are they? Because they've not went invincible. Let's face facts, Baz. They're not invincible, but they have went one step further into the Champions League, and they played more games in the Champions League. They made more money in the Champions League, and that will keep the board happy. Brendan Rodgers does go into this summer in the last year of his contract, his 3-year contract, and he will stay at Celtic. I'm pretty sure he will stay at Celtic. No matter what the Sevco media try to say and their cheerleaders, Brendan Rodgers will not be walking away this summer. He's already said that 150% he will be here next year. And to the media out there that are saying that, you know, this treble is just not. Chris Sutton has taken to the media today. Yes, our hero, our very own cheerleader, and the Celtic hero has hit out at anyone trying to undermine the achievements of Celtic. He says, look, Celtic can put the final seal on the title this afternoon. I've got to say, some of the comments leading into the potential clincher contest against Dundee United and some of the feelings attached to their imminent success has been quite frankly ridiculous. Oh man, you've got to love Chris. It's ridiculous. I mean, some of the comments, the media just hate, and I've spoke about this before on this channel. No media outlet, right? As of an age, can remember the 1990s when that lot bought their way to titles and paid over the odds and EBTs and stuff. We didn't really know at the time what was going on, but there was not much media saying this is boring, Rangers winning. We need to change the league. We need to do this. We need to change something so that it's a bit more fairer. We needed more balance in the financial gulf that was there. Where they were saying, look, if Celtic spend £5, we'll spend tenner and we'll go bust and liquidate and die. But but the media, they're really hurting, aren't they? They thought when they stopped 10 in a row that would be it. Because they look back history and they look back to when Celtic did their first 9 in a row back in the day. And when it was stopped back then, it kind of brought an end to the dominance that Celtic had over that period. But not this time. This time, it was just a blip in the road. Yes, the COVID season where Gerrard finally won the title with the Sevconians, and they can only win when there's no fans. They can only win when no one's watching. This time, it was just a blip, and Celtic rectified the blip by bringing in Ange Postecoglou from the other side of the world. After months of waiting on Eddie Howe to turn around and say, yes, I'll take the job. Eddie Howe has come out and said that, look, he didn't take the job because he couldn't get amass his squad. He couldn't get the band back together. And whatever your thoughts on Eddie Howe are, they are what they are. But we brought in Ange Postecoglou. And some will say, well, look at history, will show Ange Postecoglou as a decent manager that came into Celtic and he played some fantastic football, but he didn't manage to achieve in Europe, although he is achieving in the Europa this season with his current team. But our owner picked up the phone. Yes, he picked up the phone to his friend Brendan Rodgers, and he said, I want you back. I want you back. I want you back for good. I don't know if he was singing a Take That song at the time. But we've got to have a party today. And I know a lot of people will be watching the Pope being buried at this time. This video is recorded. It is, what time is it? It's 8:15 currently. I've not got the time on the channel anymore. Strange. But anyway, I digress. The run-in has been dull. It's lacked excitement and intrigue, says Chris Sutton. I'm not going to pretend that the lack of nerve-shredding games and the hot drama has been disappointing this season. That's not Celtic's fault. Celtic can only keep on winning. You know, nobody's questioning the Ibrox side and the elite manager that they've got in Barry Ferguson. Do you know? And Barry Ferguson saying that I'm going to make Rangers great again. Yes. Oh, fucking Jesus. I want to keep the job. All of a sudden he's American. And he's going to make them great again. And if he doesn't make them great, he's going to fucking walk away from football forever. Didn't he walk away for Rangers when he died? I can't remember. Anyway, to deny those 2 points are true, says Sutton, going on about like the lack of exciting games. But the Rangers will say, wait a minute, we beat Celtic, they'll be down the lodge saying, yeah, fucking beat Celtic. Anyway, it's been shown in the past couple of months that the pressure has been diluted. The downturn of those levels can be costly. Defeats to Rangers, home and away in matches to Hibs, St Johnstone were examples of Celtic not being at it and slow to start games. And it's true. And I think that urgency, but that comes down to the team. That doesn't come down to other teams. That comes down to the mindset of these current young players. And you got to remember, it is quite a young squad. So it's not a team like what we had here before under Brendan Rodgers. You know, there isn't that experience of the Scott Browns and stuff. I mean, you still say there's Jamesy Forrest and Callum McGregor, but I don't think that they're not a Scott Brown, are they? They don't push things down the people's throat like what Browning did. But anyway, whether it was a subconscious drop-off or not, Celtic were punished by losing points when we shouldn't have. And Brendan Rodgers says, look, the plan was always to try and win the title at Celtic Park. It's not been the case. Given the fact that Celtic were 17 points clear at the table when they went to Ibrox, the first game of 2025, they could have stretched it as far back then. The gap by the time that we finished 2024 was the real reason that Celtic have won the title. In the first 18 matches of the top flight this season, Celtic won 6 of them and drew the other 2. Not a single defeat. I think that you've also got to give a nod to Aberdeen at that point as well, because Aberdeen were pushing Celtic. And, you know, whatever's happened to Aberdeen in the second half of the season, they've got to the Scottish Cup final, and they'll say, look, if we won the Scottish Cup and stop Celtic getting the treble, it's been a fucking fantastic season. But it's not. It's been said that Celtic get it easy in Scotland, and they don't quite manage it in Europe. On the other hand, people could say, look, you can only play what's in front of you. Chris Sutton goes on to say, look, it would be highly impressive sequence if you mixed in the fact how relentless a schedule it's been in Scottish football and clubs that play at the top flight. The fact that Celtic from mid-November were playing 3 games a week. 3 games a week. And with the financial clout that we have, it may be vast in this country, but when it comes to Champions League level, we're way down the bottom of the financial league. And Rodgers trying to make an impact in Europe gets us to the playoff. That's where he said he would get us. He was always going to be judged. Brendan was always going to be judged on the European exploits this season. And I think that we can all say that he's kind of got pass marks with that. He's kind of got pass marks. There was a couple of results that I thought, maybe could have went our way and we could have done a little bit better. There was results that were phenomenal. Atalanta away. That defensive masterclass after being absolutely trounced by Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League. They had won the Europa Cup the season before. They weren't no crappy team. It was Brendan Rodgers had to come up with a tactical master plan to stop what happened in Borussia Dortmund. And he did it. And I think that kind of set Celtic up for that time. The belief that they can achieve something. And okay, you're going to say, what, we turned into them and celebrating a draw. No, we've not. But when you look at where this young squad has came from in the Champions League over the last couple of seasons and the fact that they are progressing, I think Brendan Rodgers does get pass marks this season. And if he does go and get the treble, he's achieved more than what most thought. A lot of people thought that Celtic should be going for trebles every season. Trebles won't always be able to come to Celtic. It's a matter of fact. History will show us that every time, everything that goes up must come down. And there's this bit of success. Celtic are in a golden era when it comes to success. Brendan Rodgers remembers Celtic of the 1980s and the 1990s that weren't successful as a fan. And he knows that this is a pretty special time. So if you're going to Celtic Park this afternoon, make sure you enjoy yourself. Get loads of pictures. Get loads of videos. Some people say that the trophy doesn't matter. Not one of them are Celtic players or Celtic fans. The first silverware of the season was an opportunity to win the treble. To go into that, considering we got put out at the first stage the season before and get that trophy so early was fantastic. We've had players that have come in this season that have lit up the season. Dyson Maider playing as striker. The shock to Celtic fans when Kyogo was put up for sale just the day after having 3 goals chopped offside in the Champions League. It was unbelievable. Who said there's not been drama this season? I think it's been a fantastic season. It's been a long season. And I'll tell you one thing. When we do become champions today, get it right up them, because it's 4 in a row.